Sorry, those of you on social media, we just had a quick break there just to do a correction, and thankfully it's done. So we're saying that you need to understand the nature, the form, and the appearance. So let's share the screen once again and go to what we were looking at quickly. All right. Okay. Good. I hope you can all see us now. All right. We are now, as far as today's concern, we are looking at, we said that we must understand the invisible aspect of whatever dream or whatever goal, whatever institution you are dealing with. You have to have a clear understanding of the invisible content. That is what will engineer the visibility. Once you get the invisible right, you're going to get the visible correct. So today we are looking at the mind. We explained last week that we are using the word invisible loosely. We are using the word invisible loosely. So the mind, with the sense that it is part of the brain which cannot be seen. And so it is the pillar of the invisible aspect of transreladership that has to be worked on carefully. If you're going to be very transformational, if it's going to be someone who brings lots of changes, we are saying that you must get the first pillar, which is the mind, worked on carefully. And the brain controls, let's get this, understand, the brain controls the thought pattern of a person. The thought pattern of a person, it is the brain that controls it. So once your thought pattern, which is not visible, but very powerful, once that is corrected, once that is in tune and online, then the aspect of your body, which is visible, will automatically follow. So, because it is the mind that produces the knowledge, the perception, and the understanding, which also determine the impact a person will make. Let's get that again. Your thought pattern, even though not visible, is very powerful. And that is what produces the kind of knowledge, the perceptions, and the understanding of the business, the understanding of the ministry, the understanding of whatever you are involved in. And that is what will impact whatever you do. That is what will help you leave the appropriate legacies that ought to be left. So we must be very mindful of that. So most of the visible things we see originate from the invisible, whether it is the writing of books, whether it's the invention of cars, whether it's planning of a city. Before you see the skyscrapers, before you see the road network, before you see the vehicle, the trolleys, and all the things that are produced, all originally would have come from invisibility. Somebody would have sat down, thought of it. I want to invent an aeroplane. I want to invent a car. And then out of what is invisible, then the visible aspect comes into play. So until and unless you have gotten a hold on your invisible dynamics, it will be so difficult to get the visible ones in. It will be so difficult to get the visible ones in. All right. Let me say this, as I keep sharing, this is not just a preaching. You are at liberty to ask a question whilst I'm still ministering. If there's something you don't understand, please don't let me keep going and going and going without you getting it very clear. So you are at liberty to ask for an explanation. You are at liberty to want to get a deeper meaning to something that we are saying. All right, so far we are saying, we are looking at how impactful, when one has a hold on your invisible aspect of being, you can influence the visible, which is either the company, the church, the organization, the institution. That is very critical. Now let's continue then. The infrastructure we see, I have explained, is birth out of invisibility. In the same light, transreladership must also be birthed correctly from the invisible aspect of our being. And that is why we are treating the aspect of the human mind, because in transleadership too, that also has to work. All right. Now, until there is lucidity in the realms of invisibility, the possibility of tangibility is far-fetched. Now, anytime I make this statement, people will say, wow, well, I have to break it down. So I'll try and break it down, because in transreladership, this is very critical. Until there is lucidity, there is clarity, there is illumination in the realms of invisibility, the things that are not seen, the things that are not known, until there's a grips of those things, it will be very difficult for you to make any meaningful, strong impact. So no, let's go back. Let's go back on that one. Let's try and unpack it. Now, until there's clarity, until there's light in the things that are not seen, the possibility of bringing tangibility, capacity to hold, something that people can feel, can experience, is very far-fetched. If you don't have a grasp of things that are not seen, the software of the company, the invisible aspect of your business, the invisible aspect of your marriage, of your relationship, if you don't have a hold upon it, it will be very difficult for the visible things like respect, love, affection. It's very difficult, like for the products, like the car, like the, if it is Milo soap, or if it is a brand you are producing, or you are trying to project, hear me, it will not become tangible, it will not become seen. All right. So, if a seed of one's thought pattern is right, we are saying that the tree it produces will be good. When the thought, which is a seed, is correctly configured, definitely the tree it produces will also be right. Now, so in building transreladership strategy for whatever organization you find yourself, let's say you are a pastor and you want to instill the concept of transreladership strongly in your church. You are a CEO of a company, you want to instill transreladership strongly in your company. We are saying that you would have to look at issues that affect people's thought pattern. People may come in with all kinds of thought patterns, but you have to configure, reconfigure, and possibly redigest it to fit into the kind of composition you are making. So a person's action, remember, behavior and culture are often influenced by their mindset. And so there's the need for us to change people's mindset. I think some 2 weeks or 3 weeks ago, someone was asking that what if the CEO, what if people in the organization are not following the plan or the vision of the goal? And I told you that we'll come to that at a point. Now we are there. Translators must have an appreciation of the need for continuous renewal of mind. Greater heights cannot be achieved if we keep the same thought pattern over a long time. There is no way anyone joins the organization or at every point we do not work on the renewal, the reinvention of the mind. Either of the CEO himself must continually renew his mind. Those who are workers, those who are part of the organization, your elders, your presbytery, if you're a pastor, your managerial team, if you're in a company, your football back staff, whatever it is, the point being made strongly is that you need to work on the renewal of the thought pattern of the organization. And once that is done, there's always freshness of thought. There's always something unknown. And you know, people are always very curious. People want to have a feel of something new to avoid boredom and all that. All right, so doing the same thing repeatedly and expecting different result would be an absurdity of an expectation. You cannot expect difference in product, in production. You cannot expect difference in impact, whether spiritual impact or physical impact, if you keep doing the same thing, and this is sometimes the challenge I have with some people who think that this is how we've been doing it, and so we have to keep doing it. We can't change. We can't change. When we change, we are spoiling things and all those things. That this is how it has been done. The truth of the matter is that you are who you are today. The organization is what it is today as a result of a repetition or of a doing of some of the things that has been done all these years. And so if you want to take different steps, then you need to do something very differently. And that is why we say that you cannot expect different results when you don't have a renewal. And so also there cannot be lasting transformation without consistent renewal of mind. And where people fail, we want to look at why people fail to renew minds, why people fail to have changes, some of the things, so that when you are dealing with an organization, you understand the mindset of people and you know what kind of interventions you may put in. The first point is people are unwilling to go through the pain of renewal for the unexpected change in transformation. Most of the time, people are afraid of the pain, the drudgery, the suffering, the difficulty that they have to go through. No, this thing, we are used to it. We are very comfortable. When you try to change it, there's some pressure, there's some pain, and a lot of people don't want to go through that pain. You need to understand it and be able to understand them when they have reservations. The other thing is that people are uncomfortable with change. They are unwilling because of the discomfort that will come along with the change. Once you understand that, some people are afraid of the pain they will go through, others are the discomfort, they are not comfortable. They just feel that, no, this is so easy for us. We are so used to it. It's so enjoyable. Now, why do you want to, change this? Rock the boat, as some will call it. Why do you want to change things? So these are some of the things that people will naturally fight against. Also, sometimes the fear of unknown. We have done this. We have been very successful. So if I change and I begin to do something, is it going to work out? What if we fail? What if it doesn't happen? So these are genuine concerns, genuine fears that people would have whenever there's the need for a change in mindset, a change in people's thought pattern. They are not sure. And we want to encourage you to have patience. And these gentlemen, Professor Peter Goldwasser and Lucas Keller, I hope I pronounce their names right, have made it very clear that in achieving a goal, there's the need to activate certain kinds of mindset. There's the need for certain kinds of mindset to be activated. And it doesn't matter whether you are a spiritual leader, whether you are a financial leader, whether you are a business, whatever it is, there are certain mindsets that you need to activate. And I want to share their thoughts with you now. We have what we call the, okay, let's go back. That was quick. We have the deliberative mindset, and this has to do with the initial deliberations that goes on, the kind of thinking, the kind of analysis that has to go on in your mind, in your heart, before you go into the deliberative aspect. Then there's the implemental aspect, where you evaluate what are the pros and cons. How do I ensure that this is correct or is not correct? What are the various stages that implementation has to take place before we make any progress? And then we have the actional mindset, the steps that you have to put in place to ensure that the things that you have deliberated and the implementations that you are putting in place, what will be done to ensure that there is success? And then we have the evaluative mindset. These four, that is an evaluation of whether you are succeeding or not. Were you successful or you are failing? Is it going according to plan or there's a challenge? Now, if you don't have the skill to engage in this deliberative, implemental, or actional mindset, and then ending up with evaluative mindset, you will not understand or you will not be able to be successful. I don't know whether you guys are following me. I hope it's not being too technical. let me just pause. If somebody has any question, I'll be glad before I continue. It looks like I'm pouring a lot on you. So let me hear from you, whether you are even clear with what I'm asking. If anybody has any question, maybe I'll give the chance before I continue. Any question on what I've been sharing so far? Any question? I've explained that, especially on this mindset issue. Let me go over it. I'm saying that when we talk of the deliberative mindset, we are saying that is the mental evaluation. You would have to evaluate: is it visible or not? Is it desirable? Should I do it or I shouldn't do it? These are the deliberative things that goes into the mind, and everything, whether you're going to marry, whether you're going to be in, should you play football or go into boxing? Should you marry a Chinese or a Ghanaian? Should you, whatever, you have to do that mental evaluation and work on people's minds. So in the same vein, those you are leading, you have to be very mindful of getting their evaluative mindset spot, their deliberative mindset spot on. Then we said the implementational mindset, that is, you identify the available opportunities and what are the appropriate strategies, what are the opportunities available. There should be clarity as to when, how to embark upon a particular action. This is very critical. Then we talked about the actional mindset. We said that what are the steps that you have to take, the actions, the doables to ensure that you achieve a particular goal. And then finally, the evaluative mindset, which has to do with assessing or gauging how successful you have been. Any question? Okay, yeah, I think I'm seeing some questions. Let me see if I can attend to them. Then we can continue. You can unmute yourself and also ask your question. Let me see if I can pick the questions. Sir, an organization where you have people who, as a result of any of the fear factors you mentioned, are not ready to adopt a change or have change of, what should you do as a transrelader? I hope I got the question right. That is, if people have fear. Well, obviously, if I got you right, that is exactly what we are dealing with today. We are saying that appreciate the fact that the person has some fears and respect that. So your duty now is to now begin to work on the person's mindset. Remember, we said that if you don't get the person's mindset changed, renewed, refocused, re-engineered, you cannot get their hands. You cannot get them to appreciate what you are talking about. So if the person does not has fears, then you have responsibility to take out all the fear. So you start with, you do a mental, you deliberate, you think about it. Okay, what are the sources of his fear? Why is he afraid? What is going on? Then you would have to think through this. Okay, now how am I going to take away the fear? How am I going to implement my plan? Am I capable of giving him hope? What are the various options? You would have to convince the person. And then, as I've said, in working on the person's mindset, what are the actionables? What should I do to change the person's mindset? So first of all, don't be in a hurry to say, now do this or do that, and this is how it is done. Do it. You just do it. Just obey. Don't bring military system into everything you do. When there are genuine fears, deal with the fear. Give the person a new hope. Give a person a reason. Change the mind. Until you have succeeded in changing the mind, don't be in a hurry to get the hand. I hope I've answered your question. Benjamin, is it clear? If you are muted, you talk already here, you can mute yourself. Benjamin, I need to be sure whether your question is answered.
Hello, Baba.
Yes, sir. Are you okay?
Yes, please. Yes, please. I'm okay. Just okay. That the other aspect of it is this transitional leadership where you have 10 is based on 10, let's say 4 years or 3 years, and then trying to bring this change, trying to work on this mindset. Is it not going to take a whole lot of time that before you realize your term of office is
your
over?
term of office? Yes. Yeah, you see, yeah, I can appreciate you. And that is why, if you look at the mindset change blueprint that we've discussed, if you as the transrelader, if you are able to get the mindset change principle right, then it also involves your timeline. So for instance, you know you have a 4-year mandate. So you have a strategic plan within the first 2-3 months. I will not be in a hurry to discuss my visions and my plans and my goals. If you know that the kind of people you deal with have a completely different mindset from you, don't be in a hurry to get things done. Spend a few moments convincing them, taking their hearts, winning their hearts. Maybe we'll come to that very soon when we come to the other aspect of invisibility. Winning their heart, winning their thoughts. And that is what Jesus did. Jesus met fishermen and decided to convince them, give them a better hope. Before he started sending them out, he brought them to be with them. I don't know whether you were part of last week or last 2 weeks when we shared the concept of the BED, the BED, and the DDD, where we said that before you start anything, try and win the heart of the people. So spend 1 month, spend 2 months, or even 3 months, even if you have a whole year to win their mind and to convince them, then it will be easier to get them along. But if you don't, and you're in a hurry to get your 4 years mandate over, you realize that at the 3rd year, like what is happening in Ghana politics, every time people are fighting and against it, all kinds of policies, they are against it. You see what is happening in the parliament. People are fighting because leaders are not patient to convince people. They think that we can just bulldoze our way through. And when people don't buy into your ideas, it becomes very, very difficult. Of course, there are those two out of mischief and bad intent. They will frustrate your plans. Those are there. But when people try to frustrate and you have a better approach of convincing other people, then you realize that those who are trying to frustrate will be exposed because others will catch your vision and majority will follow. You will not always have 100% followers, but spend time, spend energy to convince people before you start moving, so that in the middle of the road, they don't come and derail all that you have done. Jesus had only 3 years, but he made it. So 4 years is even long enough if you will spend time to convince people. Any other question?
I'm grateful.
Any other question? Those of you on social media, you can just post your question. I'll read it. If you're on Zoom, to just post your question to on the. You can also unmute yourself and ask your question. It's a class, so you can talk or make a contribution. Even if you disagree, you are free to disagree. It's a class. Are we okay? Should we continue? Or is there another question? Let me see. Okay, I think I'm seeing another question. As a transrelational leader, the change we seek to implement in any organization must first be seen in the leader. Okay, all right. Okay, so that's a contribution. Good. That's a very good contribution. Yeah, you are free to also unmute yourself and make your contribution. Let's make it more interactive. Don't make it, we are not in a church. I'm not preaching, we are in a class. So if you don't understand, please ask. If not, I'll just keep pouring and pouring information on you. Are we all cool? Should we continue? We have about 5 more minutes to quickly finish what we are doing. All right, then let me go ahead and continue, hoping that I'll be able to finish quickly. Let me see, just a moment. Where are we? Minute. So many things coming on screen now. Okay. Okay. All right. Okay, so we finished with the theory of mindsets. Now, can you see the I don't know whether you can see the PowerPoint. Can you see it? You can let me know.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, you can see it, sir.
All right, good. Okay, very well. Very so now we've looked at the theory of mindsets. We are still on working on people's mindset. And this is by Dr. Miles Monroe. Remember, we are saying that don't be in a hurry to get people's hands. You must get people's minds, no matter whether it's in marriage, whether it's in business, whether it's in government, whether it's in preaching, ministry, in relationship. If you find a nice girl and you want to marry the girl, or a nice guy and you want to marry, don't be in a hurry to say, let's go and marry. You must work on the person's mindset before you move on. All right, so according to, all right, good. He states this, that the mind condition determines whether a person will be successful or will fail. So if you are leading people, let's say your CEO is not leading well, as you said, as somebody asked, or the people in the country that you are governing are giving you problems, you would have to do a lot of work to condition people's mind. And I realize that that is one thing politicians find it difficult to do. When they are in opposition, they talk a lot. They have all the ideas, they have all the information. But when they come into governance, I don't know whether the hustle and bustle of the work, the difficulty of it, they find it difficult to communicate. They may be doing the right thing, but it is always a challenge with governance that they, or possibly because they are in charge, they don't see the need for communication. But I can tell you, if you do not continually engage the populace, engage those you are working with, if you're a pastor, if you do not continually engage with your members and keep their minds renewed and focus on conditioning their mind, you will not get their hands. Remember, if you have just joined, we are saying that before you can experience tangibility, before you can experience physical manifestation of anything, it could be a company, it could be a church, before the ideas that you have in mind can become physical, you would have to work on the invisible. And that is what we are doing now. If you have just joined, we are looking at the area of working on the invisibility. All right. And he gives the example of military training. And every transrelator will have to learn from this, that in military training, they have what they call boot camps, where they take the military out of the civilian environment, out of home. They take them completely out into a kind of an environment that looks like a battleground and prepare them and take them through certain drills. And because they go through all those drills for a period of time, repetitively, by the time they come back, they have been reconditioned from civilian mentality to military mentality. And that is what everybody has to do. If you want to change an organization, if you want to change a setup, you go and meet a leadership team who have been part of an old leadership, a part of an old way of doing things. You have top management who have a way of doing something. You are now the CEO. You would have to take your time and take them through like the military. Take them through certain training. A moment, I think that I'm getting some feedback. Let's see those who are talking. Try and mute yourself as much as possible. All right. Okay. Okay, I think we are Sorry, I had to go and work on the noise that was coming there. All right, so we are saying that, so if you take up a company, you take up a church, you have a presbytery, you are a local leader, you take up a school, you are the manager of the school, you take up a university, a vice chancellor, you have a team of heads of departments, dean of colleges here and there. You would have to take the whole leadership team through a kind of a drill, a repetitive kind of a drill, like a campaign of the military. But in your case, it's not going to be military. It's going to be the kind of organizational mindset that you have. Spend time reorientating people. Spend time catching their mind. Don't be in a hurry to get results. And that is what Miles Morrow is also saying. So it is the separation and the training that helps to refocus and to bring the needed concentration on the core mandate. If not, people will be swayed with all kinds of bickering and all those things that are not critical for achieving the goal. So you have a lot of work to do, as I've indicated, to get into the invisible aspect of everything we do. So in Transreladership, the mental condition of building a product or a system that will stand the test of time with transgenerational impact should be replicated in all team members, followers, and future generation. What we are saying is this. Remember, for everything Transreladership, we are talking about living legacies. Don't forget about that. And you want to see that this business I have started, I sell onions. How will I be able to sustain the selling of onions that even when I'm not there, it will still be sold? Even when I'm dead and gone, my children can continue and do it better. Or whilst I am producing cars, the kind of cars I'm producing will stand the test of time and will last long. I'm a football coach. As long as I coach this team, they would be able to win cups and sustain it. We are saying that that kind of intergenerational, transgenerational mindset and the need to sustain things must be birthed at every stage, even to the sweeper. And that is why you need to work on the mindset and inculcate this kind of mindset into them. If not, you will die and leave your dream with you alone into the grave. But that is how come many people find it difficult to leave legacy, because they don't want to go through the pain, as I've indicated, of changing people's mindset. So we are saying that this can be achieved through intentional teaching and then training. There's a whole lot of difference between teaching and training. Maybe we'll leave that for another time. And then role modeling, letting them do practice, letting them do the things that you are doing yourself. And once we get these things right, we can make a headway. All right, so now I want to go a bit religious. Sometimes, and then maybe some 2 minutes and we'll be okay. Sometimes people are at the extreme. They are unable to have a good balance. And the Bible is very clear that, let's go back. Let me find out from you. Sometimes I go on and off, so I don't know whether you can still see the PowerPoint. Can you?
Yes, please, Papa, we can see.
Okay, good. All right, so a good balance is very critical, a good balance. Sometimes people pray and pray and pray and then pray. And if it's a pastor, 40 days, 1 week prayer, every time praying. That is good. Prayer is good. But Bible says that's a false balance. And a false scale is an abomination to God. So whereas you must pray, it is also important that people use wisdom, apply skills, training, planning. If you were a religious person, a Christian especially, and everything you do it over to God, everything the Holy Ghost will do it, you will not leave legacies, because it is not everything God himself will come and do. If not, he wouldn't have said, commit your plans into the hands of God. So you must have the plan. You must be able to engage God and come out with a beautiful plan and present the plan before God. That is a lot of hard work. So there's the need for effective combination of wisdom and prayer, spirituality. And as it has been said, as much as possible, pray and depend on God as if one has no role to play. So when you are praying, pray as if it is all about God, that even your mind would not be helpful. You can't do anything. Oh God, you are the one I'm looking at. Pray like that. And then when it comes to planning, plan as if it all depends on you, that there's no God. So there should be this good combination. You must think, plan, strategize, and work hard as if it all depends on you. So when it is time to pray, let's say you wake up in the morning, you want to get a business deal over, start prayer, pray all your heart out and let the Lord know that without him, you cannot succeed. Now, having done that prayer, praying as if it's all depend on God and believing God, the next phase is to sit down, think, use the brains and the wisdom God has given you. Think, how do I solve this? When you begin to think, then God, through the prayer you have prayed, will begin to drop ideas and strategies into your plan. A lot of people are lazy in the mind. They are not lazy in hands. They are not lazy with action. They are not lazy moving around and working so hard, but very lazy in thinking. They don't have the time to think deep. And most great inventors are people who can think deep. And that is the problem sometimes with those of us in Africa. We do not want to spend time thinking through issues and getting solutions. We don't want to spend time planning. How do I get this done? You rather pray that God will help you. Remember, I'm a pastor, so I believe in prayer. Pray, but also think, plan, and then strategize. How will I get this done? What are the pros and cons? If I want to renew somebody's mindset, what are the possible challenges? And then God is going to really help you. All right, so I think that we would want to, let me see, I think we have to, time is really up. We'll continue next week. So if anybody has any question, let me just stop the thing. There's a lot to share. So we'll stop here. If anybody has any question, I don't want to download too much in a day on you. Feel free to ask your question. Any question? All right, Alex Johnson, let's hear you out.
Yeah, thank you, Apostle, for a wonderful presentation. I was just thinking aloud. You belong to a management team.
Yeah.
The leader of the team. And now you are exposed to information on this type of organizational skills and leadership. And you see that your manager is not leading the way you have learned. And you want to constructively draw his attention to some of these things. Can you suggest some ways in dropping some of these entries in your communication? Because
all right. That's a brilliant question. Those of you who have been on the past presentation, I think a similar question was asked before. So let's discuss. You've thrown a question. Let's hear you out. Let's hear your input. Those who were there when we answered the first question, when the similar question came. Anybody remember the answer we gave? He's asking, for those of you who are watching on social media, I don't know whether you heard the question, but the questioner is asking that, assuming I'm part of a management team, but the CEO or the leader or the movers and shakers are having a kind of a mindset which is not in sync with some of the things that we are learning, but you are not the top person. How do you engage that leader so that he will be able to come on board? I hope, Johnson, I got your question right.
Yes, sir. That is it, sir. Thank you.
So let's hear you, folks. As I said, it's a class. Let's hear you. If you don't talk, I'll force you to talk. I can see your names. Oh, no contribution. Maybe you are speaking, but you are muted. If you're on social media to any of the channels, you can just drop your response to the question our brother has asked. Hey, nobody wants to talk. Then I'll force you to talk. Let me see those I'm seeing. I can see evangelist. Evangelist, let's get your input. He's asking, I don't know whether you joined earlier or you just joined.
Apostle, please, I joined earlier, but not too. I joined around 5:15 or something. 5:10, 5:15 there.
Okay, so do you have some input to his question?
I actually didn't hear the question well, so if I can, you can.
Yeah, he's asking that these principles we are learning. Maybe you are a part of an organizational team where the leader is not going by these principles. How are you going to help him, or how are you going to ensure that he comes along? Because at the end of the day, you know, but he doesn't know, and he's not leading by these things we are talking about. Do you have a response?
Apostle, please. What
I don't have a response. That's okay. I don't want to put you on the spot.
Yeah, please. What I was thinking was that it's still about the mind.
Yeah.
About winning your leader's mind. So you still have to work on winning his mind before you win his heart. Then after you have won his mind, maybe the things you'll be doing may catch his attention as well, so that he may be interested in it. And once you also try and work on winning the mind and the heart of some of the other colleagues who are part of the team, they may also try doing alongside what you are doing. And okay. I think, yeah, largely the leader may also come to terms with some of these things, and may also start adopting some of these things. Thank you.
Well. Very well. Very good input there. Moses, your hand up.
Yes, Papa. Please, my hand is up.
Okay. Are you asking a question or you are responding?
Papa, I want to try with a response to our brother's question.
Great. Let's hear you out.
Papa, thank you so much for the great insight you have acquired. Papa, I want to go on the tangent of what Vanji have laid, the foundation he has laid, that we have to try as much as possible to win the mindset, the mind of our CEO, our leader. I believe that if he's a CEO who is seeking for the welfare, the achievement of the organizational goal of the group, he will be welcoming every idea that is geared towards achieving the goal. So if you are able to win his mind and he sees that, yes, you are a genuine supporter who is genuinely contributing to the success of the group, you take a step to approach him, share some of those things with him. And when he sees you from that angle, I am very sure that he will welcome that idea and work with it. So you win his mind, you share with him one-on-one, and then I'm sure he will take it for the good of the group. Thank you, sir. Papa.
Very well. I think the question still is about how we keep saying win his mind. How are we going to win the mind? I think that's what we are looking. How we have to win his mind. We have to win his heart. But how do we do that? How do we win the heart? Yeah, I can see Desmond too, but I don't know whether he joined earlier. Desmond, do you have an idea? Do you have an input? Mr. Nata, you may be speaking, but you are muted. If only you can hear us. It's a class. Let's get you. All right. I think that the same principle, there's what I refer to as leading from behind. Leadership, whether at the top or at the bottom, is still leadership. And as we know, it's leadership has to do with capacity to let people do things that even maybe they may be unwilling to do, but at the end of the day, they're able to do it and love it. So the same principle you will use if you are the top person, you may have to do it similarly, but this time around from the bottom. In other words, assuming that the leader is the one you are leading. You have to just get that assumption. So if I want to win my subordinates, what do I do? There's a particular principle. You would have to win the mind. I don't want to go beyond what we have spoken about into what we are here to go. So for instance, if you're going to use the deliberative, we're going to use the implemental, all those things we talked about winning mindset. So you have to sit down and ask yourself, okay, what will be the pros and cons? What will be the strategy? What will be the implemental actions that I need to take to win my boss's mind? Take him as your project. Take him as your project. And then what are the steps? How do I evaluate my steps to ensure that I win his heart and win his mind? Let him appreciate, let him understand. Possibly, you may have to encourage him. You may have to even give him a gift. And here, once we are talking about translatorship, you can decide to buy him a book, buy him translatorship book, and just ask him to read. All in the mind of changing his mind. You can also encourage him to attend some of these courses, not only translatorship, but other courses that are relevant. You provide that option. You may want to take advantage of certain meetings to do some presentations. Apart, so you are tackling from all front. Assuming you are leading, what will you do? The same principle, I think you will apply if you are engaging somebody who is higher than you, out of respect and decorum. The difference is that when you are in charge, you can order around, you can call meetings, you can call this. But if you are below, then take the leader as your project, think through it, look at all the four sets of mind, renewing of mind that we've spoken about, and implement it towards him. So all the contributions that have been made, I think, are super and excellent, and we can try it. Johnson, I don't know whether you've gotten something from the contributions made.
I'm so happy to hear the responses. Thank you.
Great. Yes, any other? Let's hear you. Let's get inputs. Don't make it a church service. We are not in a church. Some of you are pastors, so you are behaving like we are in the church. So you are all quiet. But let's get your input. I'm seeing Patience there. Do you have any contribution, any input, Madam Patience? Auntie Pat. You are muted.
No, I'm on now. I don't have any contribution. So if next week, if anything next week, I'll come up with my view.
All right, sure.
Thank you.
Very well. Yes, any other question or any other input? Okay. Our time is up, but let me encourage those of you who have. Is somebody speaking? Auntie Betty, we cannot hear you. We cannot hear you. Auntie Betty, you need to reposition yourself. Are you speaking?
Yes.
Madam Betty, we can hear you as if you are talking, but your voice is like music. We can't hear anything. So if you can reposition yourself.
Yes, I'm speaking.
Oh, Madam Betty, your voice is, we can't hear you.
Apostle, please, can you hear me?
Still not too good.
Please, can you hear me?
Yeah, it's better now.
Apostle, can you hear me?
Yes, it's better now. We can hear you now.
Oh.
Oh, she's gone again. All right. I think she's gone again. Okay. We are bringing the curtains down for today. Today we've looked at how to get the mind. We have explained that the invisible aspect of everything we do is extremely critical. and that whether you are leading from the top or you are leading from the bottom, you have responsibility to be able to go through the similar principles by capturing the mind. So I'm just giving a minute summary. If somebody wants to talk, you can still go ahead and talk. Once I hear you talking, I'll give you the way if you want to make any contribution. And to give a summary, we said that you would have to, the critical ingredient is to have an understanding of clarity of mind and be able to push your ideas through the minds of people. Once you catch the person's mind, and later when we talk of the heart, you catch the heart, you can get the hand and the feet. All right, Auntie Beta, someone is suggesting that you can test your message. I think that's a nice one. You can write whatever you want to write, and they will hear you. So Auntie Beta, if you can hear us, since your line is not good enough, you can test. That's a good one. All right. So with the visible and invisible aspect, we have shared that, and then the next thing we also said is that, remember, every infrastructure is rooted on the mind, and until there's lucidity in the realms of invisibility, the possibility of tangibility is far-fetched. We've also said that when a tree, the seed of one's thought pattern is right, then you can get a good tree out of it, and that your mindset will determine your actions, your behavior, and your culture. When we talk of culture, we talk about things that you do frequently. Then we also explain that there's therefore the need to engage in renewed mindset, and then we looked at the strategies for getting renewed mindset, and that you cannot achieve greater heights when you keep the same thought and mindset pattern. But at every stage, there's the need for a renewal, a change in direction. That is what will help you sustain without really affecting the nature. Remember, we spoke about the nature, without affecting the nature, because the nature is the identity. It must be kept. However, when it comes to the form and the appearance, there can be changes. So if these terminologies you don't understand, it's because you've been missing previous sessions. So if you fail to renew mind, you may have a challenge. We also looked at why people don't want to change their mind. We talked about people don't want to go through the pain of change. We also spoke about the discomfort that change brings and then unwillingness. We also spoke about the fear of the unknown. We are not sure what will happen out of that. And then we looked at the theory mindset, the theory of mindset, what that is. And we looked at the deliberative mindset, the implemental mindset, the actional mindset, and the evaluative mindset. These are things that, or concepts that were taught by Professor Goldweiser and Lucas Keller. I hope I got their names right. And then we took it from them to share. These, I thought, it's beautiful ideas. Then we also got lessons from Miles Morrow, the boot camp training strategy. And then we said that in everything we do, we need to also go by this. So in summary, we have said that catch the mind, renew the mind, get the people to get on board in their mind first, capture it, and then you'll be able to get their hands and their feet. And then we said the critical ingredients of the renewed mindset and other things, God willing, we're going to continue next week. So please come on time, invite a friend to get on board. And if today is the first time of joining, we want to encourage you to register. When you register, you get all the training materials, all the PowerPoint materials and all those things. But the books and the PowerPoints and the workbooks and all those things, you just have to drop something later. We put the, if you have not registered, it means you are not on the platform. And so we are unable to send you information and materials. I encourage you to register for the E-Class so that even if sometimes you miss, as long as you have taken a particular package, it will still be communicated to you accordingly. Sometimes to transport the whole video, you know that it costs to transport the whole video file. So once you are registered, it makes it easier for us to do these things. Let me see whether all right, I think Beta has sent the question, so let me see if I can read it. If you're a leader and you want to implement something, okay, I think it's a contribution she was making, that if you're a leader and you want to implement something, it is better to take ideas from your other colleague, okay? So that is an input that she's making. All right, so God willing, we're going to meet again next week for the E-Class. Please, let's try and be punctual. Let's try and be regular. If not, we are compelled to always go back and explain previous terminologies in order to explain today's terminology. And remember, some of the terms are a bit scientific or a bit terminological. So we need to open it up. Now, once we open it up in previous presentations, the following week, we cannot keep repeating, but there's a lot we need to learn. And by the end of the module, we should have finished. So we may have to speed up a bit. If you have the book, it's good. You're able to read and get deeper understanding. Just that sometimes some of the presentations, the examples we give are not in the book. That is why it's also important you get the PowerPoint. It's also important you get the presentation so that you get a full package of what is in the book. And remember, as you teach, you also get fresh ideas. So sometimes we come out with things which are not even in the book. And it's important you are part of the class. So God bless you and see you again next week. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you, Apostle.
Bye-bye. God bless you.
Bye.